This video will look at all the fields in the author table and explain the purpose of each one. Starting at thesifter.org, I'll open the author table by clicking on the search button to the right or the Browse Search option at the top menu bar. Click on Authors under the Main Table section on the far right of the screen. Before any works, sections, or recipes can be entered into the Sifter, an author needs to be in the database. If adding a work and the author already exists, you can use that to attach the work. For this table, only one field is required, the last name. Columns such as rows, author ID, and works are read-only fields and are computer-generated. The row column, and this may be obvious, indicates the row as it's displayed on the screen you're looking at, and the numbers change from screen to screen. The author ID is a unique number assigned to each author, and it's possible to search for this. By default, the author table is sorted alphabetically by last name in ascending order, and secondly by first name. Often little is known about an author, and anonymous is in fact the most common last name in this collection. When the author is anonymous, Barbara has designed a system for assigning names consistently. Generally speaking, if the work title page has a reference such as a lady, that will be the first name. If the author is an organization, then that will be the last name. In the instance where the work is a community cookbook, the last name would consist of the state, followed by the city, and the organization would be the first name. The best way to see this is with an example. There are many Illinois community cookbooks, so let's look at some of those. To find them, click on the filter from the drop-down, type in Illinois, and you will see a list of options to select. Click on the first, Cincinnati. Hold the Shift key down and click on Danvers at the bottom. Then click on the filter button and you'll see a number of the community cookbooks with the state, city as the last name, and the organization as the first name. If you click on the 1 in the Works column, this takes you to the Work tab, showing the title of the work, and over to the right you'll see the genre field, Community Cookbook. Returning to the author table, the first name column is just that. That was mentioned earlier, this can also be an initial, the actual first name, a vague identity such as a lady, an authority, or an organization. Although there is no requirement for the first name, where the last name is anonymous, a unique identifier must be entered to make it distinctive from other anonymous authors. And this is useful for when you add works or other areas of the program. If there is no other information to add, the first several words of the work's title may be entered. You can see how this was done with these authors. Dates can also be used for the first name. One must be resourceful. Middle name is just that. If you have one, you can enter it, and I can't think of any exceptions. The Works column will indicate if any, and if so how many, of the author's works have been entered into the Sifter, and this is a computer-generated number. The double sword in the column heading and blue lettering indicates that clicking on this will take you down another level. If there is a number other than 0, you can click on it, and a new tab with a work or works will display listing them, as we did with the Illinois Community Cookbooks. The title column, which is not the title of the work, the title indicates an official role or personage, such as cook, captain, candy maker, Mr. or Mrs., or in one case, the Great Eater of Kent. The next two boxes should be checked depending on whether the author is anonymous, even though that would be in the last name, or if it's an organization. The gender field currently has female, male, both, and not found, though this will likely be expanded. Not found indicates that someone tried to find a gender but did not find any information. Language would be their native tongue or the language of their work. Pseudonyms are useful even if their actual name is known. And short name deals with names that can sometimes be very long, as can be the case with Spanish names or for reports where the name may be repeated. The next columns deal with the birth and death dates, as well as active dates for guesstimates, if these are not known. If the author's birth and death dates are unknown, but one of their works has a published date, that would be the active date. BCE indicates before the Common Era, once BC, so check that box if needed. If known, the month and day can be entered, and the box checked if it's exact. Any date anomalies can be added to the notes field for the birth, death, and/or active dates. Along with the dates, there are many options for adding geographic information: city, state, and country. For the country, contemporary, this is for the current country name. The historical country column accounts for shifting boundaries over the centuries and would indicate regions no longer in existence, such as the Holy Roman Empire or the Mayan Empire. The regions and continents can also be recorded. Regions is a vast group that can cover bodies of water, mountain ranges, and regions within a continent, such as the Midwest. Next is spouse, if known, and other occupations of the author. And the last column, comments, is for notes regarding the author that don't fit into any of the other categories, such as possible influences or areas of interest. In summary, we looked at all the fields in the author table, which includes various name fields, gender or anonymous checkboxes, and dates surrounding their birth, death, and active years. Then the locations of their births and deaths. We covered how to name anonymous authors and discussed using the notes field when necessary.